The Virginia Cable Telecommunications Association and your local cable provider presents Cable Reports. Join us now as Cable Reports brings you up to date on current issues facing the Commonwealth through discussions with your local legislators and other policymakers from across Virginia.
Welcome to Cable Reports, brought to you by the Virginia Cable Telecommunications Association, connecting Virginians to their government. We're so fortunate to have representatives of two of our finer private institutions of higher learning in the state of Virginia. Dr. Tiffany McKellips-Franks, good to see you. Averett University.
It's great to be here. Thank you, Woody.
Jake B. Schrum, Emory and Henry College. Good to see you, sir.
Good to be with you, Woody.
You know, I don't know much about Emory and Henry. I've been doing a little reading. Can you tell us a little bit about the history and the significance of those gentlemen who it's named after?
Sure. Well, next month we will be celebrating our 179th anniversary. We're the oldest college, public or private, in Southwest Virginia, in the same spot we've been in for almost 180 years. Our entire central campus is on the National Register of Historic Places, and we're named for two very important people in Virginia's history. John Emory, who was a Methodist bishop, who Emory University in Atlanta is also named for, and Patrick Henry, who everyone knows is the person who gave the famous speech, "Give me liberty or give me death." It's named for John Emory because John Emory combined faith and learning, and Patrick Henry because he was interested in freedom and civic responsibility.
And you're in a very beautiful part of Virginia. Tell us a little bit about the geography of the area.
Well, people will say that we're in the colorful hills of Southwest Virginia, and it is kind of between the mountains in Southwest Virginia. It's one of the most beautiful areas of the country, and the town closest to us of any size is Abingdon. There's a federal courthouse there. The Barter Theater, the State Theater of Virginia, is there. It's just a wonderful setting.
And what about your student body? Where do most of your students come from?
Well, we have just over 1,000 students, and most of them come from Virginia and the states contiguous to us. But we have students from 25 different states and 12 countries other than the United States.
Great. And what about your faculty and staff? Where do most of them come from, and how diverse is it?
Well, we are one of the 275 colleges in America that are called National Liberal Arts Colleges, because we recruit our staff and our faculty from all over the country and some from other countries in the world. And so, you know, the three finalists for a job at Emory and Henry, one may be from California, and one may be from Massachusetts, and another from Tennessee. And but it is a national faculty.
And Tiffany, give us an idea of the background of Averett University. I know it's grown, it's still growing. There are a lot of capital things going on. Talk to us about that.
Absolutely. Averett was founded in 1859 for women, and I often describe Averett by saying, since the beginning, we've been a pioneer in education, whether it was a pioneer in Southern Virginia for women, or later when we became co-ed, and then ultimately when we added our program for adults, which was 30 years ago. A lot of people think of Averett as solely in Southern Virginia, but our footprint is truly across the state, from Quantico to Roanoke and Chesapeake and Richmond, just virtually all over. And what I enjoy so much about our university is that we are truly comprehensive, serving students of all ages from 18 to 80. And we're committed to being responsive to the regions we serve, not only in Southern Virginia, but across the state.
Talk to us somewhat about the capital improvement projects that are going on.
Thank you. Woody, the university started its first comprehensive capital campaign several years ago, and about 28 months ago, we announced that at that point we had raised just over $25 million, and now we're pushing to get to $30 million, and virtually those all of the people who've participated in that campaign have really enabled us to do some amazing things on campus. First, we've launched a major initiative in the health sciences with a new nursing program and state-of-the-art nursing teaching learning facility, which happens to be in our river district of downtown Danville, which is really helping in many ways stir other economic activity in the community. Our second major project is the Violet T. Frith Fine Arts Center, which has allowed us to have just wonderful gathering and performing arts space for not only Averett, but for the entire region. And then this fall, we launched phase 1 of a new stadium project, and that was a $1.5 million project that involved synthetic turf and lights. And now we're trying to finish that project. It's total $6.5 million for the new stadium, and we're very close to securing the funding. But again, that facility not only serves Averett, but serves the whole region. And then most recently, we secured funding for a new Center for Community Engagement and Career Competitiveness that links our students with the region, doing all kinds of things. And we are just so grateful for foundations, for our graduates, for friends, for the people who know that Averett has been such a life-changing institution, and they want to give back.
Great. And I know that fundraising was part of your past at Yale University. What kind of fundraising efforts are going on at Emory and Henry?
Well, we're in the process now of looking at what they call the quiet phase of a campaign, and we're looking at $75 to $80 million. We normally raise about $8 to $10 million a year, and so we're going to do about a 7 or 8 year campaign. It'll be somewhere between $75 and $100 million. We just finished fundraising for a new arts center, and it will be opening in the fall, similar to what Tiffany was talking about at Averett. And we're looking forward to being a real anchor for the performing arts and the visual arts in that part of Virginia. We too have a Appalachian Center for Civic Life. 98% of our students for the last 20 years have done some type of service learning project, everything from envisioning and starting and doing the planning for a sliding scale clinic in the area around us. Our students were the first responders to the tornado in Glade Spring. A few years back, 100 of them were the first responders, even before firefighters and police were there. We've always given back to Southwest Virginia, and I call us the brave outpost of the liberal arts in Southwest Virginia, because it's getting more and more difficult for people to understand exactly what it means to have a liberal arts education at a time when I think our country is desperate for people who have the perspective that a liberal arts education provides them.
Good point. As a matter of fact, there's been a lot of emphasis on STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. People leave that A out. Talk to us about the importance of liberal arts.
Well, I mean, it's the best foundation anyone, I think, can have for life. We often talk, I know on both of our campuses, it's not about preparing students for the first job. We do that, and we know we do that well. But importantly, we're preparing our students and our graduates for the third job, the fourth job, the seventh job they will have in life. And we want our students to leave being able to solve problems, work well in teams, communicate well, write well. I cannot tell you how many employers, when I meet with them and I talk with them about what are you needing in our graduates, it is not the technical skills. It is they want people who can get in and work well with others, and it's that strong liberal arts foundation that helps graduates do those very things.
Great. We're in the basement of the General Assembly building here in Richmond, Virginia. What brings you to the state capitol, Jake?
Well, we come at least once a year, and sometimes more often, and our students do at least once a year, to visit with delegates and with senators and so forth mainly about the tuition assistance grant, which is a grant that's been in Virginia now for about 40 or 50 years. And what it does, it kind of equalizes the tuition between a public institution and a private institution. And the whole reason for doing this is really to help the taxpayers, because we are educating thousands and thousands of students on our campus. And if those students all had to go to a public institution, the taxpayers would be paying much more for them to go there. So why not give them a $3,100 tuition assistance grant and let them come to Emory and Henry, where we're paying for the residence halls and we're paying for the new arts centers and we're paying for the experience of service learning and a liberal arts degree that will help them get a job and live a life that's worth living. So anyway, that's the whole idea behind it. We just come up and remind the people who represent us how important it is to our students.
I guess another critical component of financial aid for students beyond the tuition assistance grant is the Tobacco Commission.
That's right. We are so grateful for the Tobacco Commission and the support that they provide our students. You know, we often, Jake and I are often in positions where we're talking about affordability, private college affordability, and we always say to students and families, you cannot solely focus on the stated cost. You need to look, you need to get to know the institution, visit the institution, and ultimately, if it's right, the real cost is very different than the stated cost, because we're out working to raise money to help support our students choosing our colleges. And the Tobacco Commission is one wonderful source of funds that students can receive.
And I take it the Tobacco Commission is also a source of funding for your college as well?
They've been helpful to us as we are getting a health sciences program started in Marion, and our first program will be a Doctor of Physical Therapy program. And they are also looking at an application from us and from a group of colleges and universities, including ETSU, VCOM, potentially the University of Virginia, some hospitals in Southwest Virginia. We're trying to put together an alliance for rural health so we can provide better health care for the people in Middle Appalachia, but especially in Southwest Virginia. And so we have a proposal going to the Tobacco Commission for close to $20 million to support that alliance.
Talk to us about the number of academic disciplines that you offer at Averett.
We have over 30 majors for students, and you know, we always say that it's far less important what it is you're majoring in, but to choose something you love. And with over 30 majors, there's a wonderful range, whether it's the traditional liberal arts areas, or whether it is a signature program in equestrian studies, and both of us in fact enjoy strong equestrian programs. We also have a signature program in aviation management, which often is uncommon among our institutions. As I said, we've had a major expansion in the health sciences, and for years Averett has been known for producing just very talented teacher education graduates. In fact, in Southern Virginia, over 40% of the teachers come from Averett, and we're very proud that the majority of them every year receive the Outstanding Teacher of the Year awards. So whether it is teacher education, whether it's business, health sciences, other signature programs, we've got an enormous range. And then for adults, we've had a strong adult program for many, many years, and there we offer the undergraduate business degree, the MBA, a criminal justice degree. We are launching a Bachelor of Applied Science as a way of really working with a number of our community college graduates who may have a technical degree but never went on to earn the baccalaureate degree.
Now what about at Emory and Henry?
We have close to 40 majors. Some of our most popular majors are mass communications, psychology, biology, chemistry. We have what's been ranked as the 7th best outdoor program in America. And one of the things that we are really looking at now is something we're calling Project Ampersand. We're one of the 20 or 30 colleges in America that have an ampersand in our name. We're not Emory-Henry or Emory and Henry. We are Emory ampersand Henry. And what we want to do is we want to connect the liberal arts to the real world. We want to connect the sciences to the humanities better than ever before. We want students, when we start talking to them in high school about coming to Emory and Henry, to ask them what their passion is and what problem they want to solve. Maybe both of their parents are overweight and they're worried about obesity. They don't know how to say that to their parents, but they know enough about obesity to know that there are real problems down the line for their parents. So we want them to come to Emory and Henry and on their essay say, I'm worried about obesity. And so we get there and we show them which teams are working on that, which faculty are working on that. And they do an e-portfolio the entire time they're at Emory and Henry. They do internships related to that. They have study abroad related to that. They do service learning related to that. So when they're applying for a job when they graduate, they may have majored in biology, but when the person in the HR office said, well, what's special about what you did? Well, through Project Ampersand, I solved problems. I worked in teams to solve problems, what Tiffany was talking about a minute ago. And our faculty, just real quick at our faculty, in the last 25 years, there's been a national organization that sponsors an outstanding faculty member in every state or commonwealth in the institution. And in 8 of those 25 years, a different Emory and Henry professor has been voted the outstanding professor in the Commonwealth of Virginia. UVA is next with 4, Virginia Tech is next with 2, and then there are others with 1 or 2. But you have to ask yourself the question, what's going on in Southwest Virginia that we have so many outstanding professors?
So a real comprehensive and holistic approach to education at your institution of higher learning as well, I take it.
Absolutely. Well, and as you were talking, one of the things that has just been most rewarding for me in the past 7 years is to watch our faculty say, we want to make certain that every one of Averett's graduates leaves here having had real life, real world experiences throughout their time. And so that's partly what the Center for Community Engagement that I talked about earlier is doing. So literally every one of our graduates will complete a service learning experience. They'll be hands-on working in an internship, or they'll perform undergraduate research, or they will study abroad or have some kind of cultural immersion experience. And you know, I mean, you think all of these things are the kinds of, they just demonstrate our commitment to making students certain that students go out and are prepared to lead, to serve, to solve problems. So I just think these are great examples of how the kinds of work, that very one-on-one work our institutions do with students.
Let's talk in a little bit more detail about cost. We alluded to it earlier. Tell us what kinds of cost an entering student is facing at Averett.
Well, like I said earlier, I always say to families, don't focus on the stated price.
Right.
We're proud to be among we're in the top third of the most affordable private colleges in Virginia. But again, set stated price aside, I always say to families and students, come visit, see if it's right, and then you start to have that conversation about what kinds of scholarship programs are available. And we have, our institutions invest considerable dollars in helping families meet the cost of attendance. And again, it's about visiting and making certain the institution is right, and then it's putting that package together, everything from institutional aid. And at Averett, literally 99% of our students receive some form of financial aid, and the majority of our students receive institutional support. Then there's the TAG, Tuition Assistance Grant. Then there's Tobacco Commission scholarships for students from our region. Pell Grants, all the different federal sources. So it is truly a matter of putting that equation together. But the key, I mean, I know you can say the same thing, Jake. Our institutions can often be, we can match what a public university costs.
So I shouldn't be afraid if I want to send my child to Emory and Henry.
Right. But if Emory and Henry is the right place for you and you want to be there, we will find a pathway to make it happen. And you know, our sticker price is with everything, books, tuition, room, board, everything, is about $42,000 a year. The average student at Emory and Henry pays somewhere between $15 and $18. And when our students graduate, the average amount of money that they owe when they graduate, that they've taken out in loans, you know, you hear all these stories from the New York Times about $100,000. Right. That's about 2% of the people in the country who have gone to very, very expensive schools. At Emory and Henry, it's $27,000. That's about the cost of a Camry with a few bells and whistles, and I think we're worth that.
I think.
Go ahead. I was going to say our sticker price is just over $30,000, and similarly, our average institutional award would be upward of $15,000. So again, it's not the stated price. I don't think we can convey that enough.
I think you have a program called Ideal.
We do.
Talk to us about that.
You know, Ideal is a wonderful way of meeting students right where they are. Often students have started college, stopped, started. Ideal is just what it sounds like. It's an ideal program. It's a way of customizing an academic program to meet the needs of a student. So it might be that a student takes a course face-to-face. In the first semester or the second semester, they might be taking a course online. It could be, it's a way of blending courses together to meet a student where they are. And it serves students basically in all age ranges.
And I understand your nursing program has really taken off.
Oh, we're so excited about this, and we're so grateful to all the foundations and graduates and friends who invested in this program. But essentially, our region said there is not another 4-year nursing program within a 50-mile radius of Averett University. And we know that nurses who have that baccalaureate degree, it leads to quality care. And so Averett launched essentially a $3 million initiative several years ago to launch the program. We have a state-of-the-art facility, teaching learning facility with just fabulous simulation technology. And the program is off to the races. I mean, 150 students roughly. We offer both the 4-year degree, Bachelor of Applied or Bachelor of Nursing, and then we offer the RN to BSN, and that's just the beginning.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we know what demands there will be in the workforce in the health sciences. So for us, this was the starting place.
Great. Now, do you have any relationship with the New College Institute? Former Senator Wampler is the president of that institute.
No, we do not. We do not.
We do.
Averett?
We most certainly do. In fact, we were in the Martinsville area before New College arrived, and when New College came, we've been a part of NCI since the beginning. In fact, I think we're somewhere upward of 300 graduates from New College Institute. And Senator Wampler and NCI, they've just been a wonderful partner. Wonderful partner.
I understand you blog to let your students, faculty, and the community understand what's going on at Emory and Henry. Talk to us about that experience.
Well, I mean, I think it's. I think if Tiffany and I are not selling the type of institutions we have, we can't really expect anyone else to. And so, you know, students and people who are interested in American higher education are always looking to see if the leader of an institution is making comments about the liberal arts, about sexual assault, about, you know, anything that is very, very important that we're dealing with on a college campus. When I moved here a year and a half ago, almost every Virginia president I talked to said that one of the most exciting presidents to learn from is Tiffany Franks. And so I'm just glad to be on the program with her. I mean, all of these great things that they're doing, those exciting ideas. So we all learn from each other, but I think it's important for us to be out there telling people what we think the liberal arts are all about and why they're so important in today's society.
So what's happening in terms of moving from a college with a rich history like yours to a new environment these days? We talked a little bit about universities without walls, but what kinds of challenges do you face?
Well, we all face, the biggest challenge we face is how to help students who want to come to Emory and Henry find a way to go there, and for their parents to believe that they can afford it and that they won't graduate with too much debt, and that they will have a job or they will go to graduate and professional school when they leave. And so I think convincing them of that is the most important thing. But at the same time, we also have to talk about the difference between an education where you're just trying to check off boxes and answer questions, as opposed to being an institution like ours where we're interested in making sure that our students understand what the important questions are in life. Not what the answers are necessarily, but what the important questions are, because the people who lead in this country are the ones that are asking the most important questions.
That's a very good point. You're absolutely right. Questions are more important than resolving them in many instances, are they not?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, as you were talking about just today, the environment we're in, and colleges and universities without walls, Averett has been a pioneer in working with serving adults for the last 30 years, and one of the challenges that we've really tried to embrace is how to meet adults where they are. And it's just increasingly become difficult for adults to take the time to return to class, sit in a classroom at night, and so there's that challenge of how can we provide that one-on-one personal attention that we have prided ourselves on for 150 some years. How do we deliver that in an online environment? And over the past 3 years, Averett has worked to adapt and modify its programs for adults so that we are delivering them online as well.
So how is that handled? I mean, what have you had to do to enhance that online learning experience?
Yeah, you know, it starts with making certain faculty are comfortable and giving faculty the support they need. Because many faculty for years have taught solely in that face-to-face environment. And so a lot of it is about helping faculty have the support and the professional development that they need. It's also thinking through with the institution, whether it's academic advising, whether it is support services, whether it's religious life. You know, both of our institutions are church-related.
Right.
How do we make certain that whether you're an adult student in Quantico who's taking online classes through Averett, or whether you're sitting face-to-face in Danville, how do we make certain that the mission, the character, our values, that comes through?
I take it that you have those same kinds of challenges in terms of distance learning?
Well, we do, and one of the things that we're doing right now that's very exciting to us, and it's been funded by the Virginia Foundation for Independent Colleges, is that we're in a consortium with several other colleges to teach languages we don't teach on our campus. So for instance, we teach Chinese, so we're providing the Chinese professor for all of the students at all of the institutions that are in the consortium. And another institution like Washington and Lee might teach Farsi, and none of the other schools. So that professor who teaches Farsi will teach all of the students in those schools. It's just starting. We've just gone through the first semester. It's working quite well. We have the technology because of VFIC to do it in a first-class way.
And I really praise Emory and Henry for what you're doing there, because that's another example of how we're all working together to keep our costs down.
Great. Well, we're going to have to leave it at that. Believe it or not, we're out of time. Thank you for being here, Jake Schrum from Emory and Henry, and Tiffany McCullough-Franks from Averett University. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you, Woody.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for watching Cable Reports, brought to you by the Virginia Cable Telecommunications Association, connecting Virginians to their government. Until next time, I'm Woody Evans.